Welcome to Layered Layout Design for instructional videos. In this video, you'll learn a procedure to operationalize assets in Adobe After Effects. I'm Matt McElhenney, an MA student in the Instructional Design and Technology e-learning program at the University of Central Florida, and I will be teaching this course. So how can an instructional designer sequence assets for an instructional video? A basic workflow in After Effects follows 5 steps: importing files as compositions and footage, creating editable text from .psd files, sequencing compositions and footage in a composition, animating layers, and editing footage in a composition, as well as other compositions nested within the main composition. Think about an instructional video you have viewed in the past that contained animations. Make a mental list of what you liked about the animations and a separate mental list of what you didn't like. Now that you have a basic understanding of how animations can influence the effectiveness of an instructional video, you are ready to look more closely at the process of sequencing elements for your own instructional video. With Adobe After Effects open, click New Project. An empty, untitled project opens. Navigate to File, Import, File. Click the Viewing Area file to select it. In the Import As drop-down menu, select Composition, Retain Layer Sizes, and click Import. In the Project panel, double-click. Click the Image 1 file to select it. In the Import As drop-down menu, select Composition, Retain Layer Sizes, and click Import. A dialog box opens. Select Editable Layer Styles in the Layer Options area, and click OK. In the Project panel, double-click. Click the Image 2 file to select it. In the Import As drop-down menu, select Composition, Retain Layer Sizes, and click Import. A dialog box opens. Select Editable Layer Styles in the Layer Options area, and click OK. In the Project panel, double-click. Click the VoiceOver file to select it. In the Import As drop-down menu, select Footage, and click Import. Click the New Composition from Footage button. Click the on-screen text for Slide 5 file to select it. In the Import As drop-down menu, select Composition, Retain Layer Sizes, and click Import. A dialog box opens. Select Editable Layer Styles in the Layer Options area, and click OK. Drag the Viewing Area composition to the Timeline panel. After Effects creates a new composition titled Viewing Area 2. Navigate to Composition, Composition Settings. Set the duration to 14 seconds, 14 frames. Click OK. Drag the on-screen text for Slide 5 composition to the top of the layer stack in the Timeline panel. Double-click the composition to display it in the Composition panel. Click the bullet point for Subtopic 3 layer in the Timeline panel, and shift-click the topic layer to select all the layers in the composition. Navigate to Layer, Create, Convert to editable text. In the Timeline panel, right-click and navigate to New, Solid. Double-click the color in the color area. Enter 255 in the red field, 255 in the green field, and 255 in the blue field. Click OK. Click OK. Click White Solid 1 in the Timeline panel and drag it to the bottom of the layer stack. Click the Viewing Area 2 composition in the Timeline panel. Then click the Image 1 composition and drag it to the top of the layer stack in the Timeline panel. Click the Image 2 composition and drag it to the top of the layer stack in the Timeline panel. Click the voiceover file and drag it to the bottom of the layer stack in the Timeline panel. Select the on-screen text for Slide 5 composition and use your mouse to position it in the center of the whiteboard. Twirl down the Image 1 bin, expand its transform properties, and enter 225% in the scale property. Double-click the Image 1 composition to display it in the Composition panel. Click Layer 1 in the Timeline panel to select it. Navigate to Edit, Edit Original. Navigate to Image, Image Rotation, Flip Canvas Horizontal. Navigate to File, Save. Twirl down the Image 2 bin. Expand its transform properties. And enter 200% in the scale property. Select the Image 2 composition and use your mouse to position it on the right side of the projector screen. Click the on-screen text for Slide 5 composition. After Effects displays the composition in the Composition panel. Control-click the Subtopic 1 layer, Subtopic 2 layer, and Subtopic 3 layer to select the layers. In the Character panel, set the font size to 21 pixels. With the subtopic layers still selected, Control-click the bullet point for Subtopic 1 layer, bullet point for Subtopic 2 layer, and bullet point for Subtopic 3 layer to select the layers. Use the arrow keys on your keyboard to center the layers in the composition. Click the topic layer to select it. In the Character panel, set the font size to 32 pixels. Use the arrow keys on your keyboard to center the layer in the composition. Navigate to Window, Align. The Align panel opens. Select the bullet point layers. In the Align panel, select Composition from the Align Layers to drop-down menu. And then click Align Left. Use the arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge the bullet points back toward the text. Select the white solid 1 layer and press the Delete key on your keyboard. Click the Viewing Area 2 composition select the on-screen text for Slide 5 layer and center the text on the whiteboard. Select Full from the drop-down menu. Drag the playhead to the beginning of the composition. And click the play button in the preview panel to preview the composition.
Welcome to this video on how to perform CPR on infants. This video will teach you the essential steps to save a life in an emergency situation. The first step in performing CPR on an infant is to welcome to this
Set the current time indicator to 1 second. Control-click the Image 1 composition and Image 2 composition and press the left bracket key on your keyboard. Set the current time indicator to 14 seconds, 14 frames. Holding down the Alt key, press the right bracket key on your keyboard. Then press the I key on your keyboard. In the Effects and Presets panel, navigate to Animation Presets, Transitions Movement, Card Wipe 3D Pixel Storm. Drag the effect to the Image 1 composition and then to the Image 2 composition. Select Half from the drop-down menu. Solo the Image 1 layer, Image 2 layer, and Viewing Area layer. Drag the playhead to the beginning of the composition. And click the play button in the preview panel to preview the composition.
Welcome to this video on how to perform CPR on infants. This video will teach you the essential steps to save a life in an emergency situation. The first step in performing CPR on an infant is to
Click the on-screen text for Slide 5 composition and set the current time indicator to 4 seconds, 6 frames. In the Effects and Presets panel, navigate to Animation Presets, Text, Animate In, Fade Up Characters, and drag the effect to the topic layer. Set the current time indicator to 6 seconds, 4 frames, and drag the effect to the Subtopic 1 layer and the bullet point for Subtopic 1 layer. Set the current time indicator to 8 seconds, 14 frames, and drag the effect to the Subtopic 2 layer and bullet point for Subtopic 2 layer. Set the current time indicator to 10 seconds, 24 frames, and drag the effect to the Subtopic 3 layer and bullet point for Subtopic 3 layer. Click the Viewing Area 2 composition. Select Full from the drop-down menu. Solo the on-screen text for Slide 5 layer and the Viewing Area layer. Drag the playhead to the beginning of the composition. And click the play button in the preview panel to preview the composition.
Welcome to this video on how to perform CPR on infants. This video will teach you the essential steps to save a life in an emergency situation. The first step in performing CPR on an infant is to welcome to this video.
Select the voiceover layer. Navigate to Edit, Edit in Adobe Audition,
Welcome to this video on how to perform CPR on an infant. This video will teach you the essential steps to save a life in an emergency situation. The first step in performing CPR on an infant is to
click and drag to select the silence, and press the Delete key on your keyboard to remove it.
perform CPR on an infant.
Click and drag to select the silence, and press the Delete key on your keyboard to remove it. Navigate to File, Save. Drag the playhead to the beginning of the composition. And click the play button in the preview panel to preview the entire composition.
Welcome to this video on how to perform CPR on an infant. This video will teach you the steps to save a life in an emergency situation. The first step in performing CPR on an infant. Welcome to this video on how to perform CPR on an infant. This video will teach you the essential steps to save a life in an emergency situation. The first step in performing CPR on an infant is to
Congratulations! You finished Module 4, Video 1. In this video, you learned a basic workflow for sequencing elements in an instructional video in After Effects. Earlier in the lesson, you thought back to an instructional video you have viewed in the past that contained animations. How could the steps provided in this video improve the animations for that video? Before moving on to Module 5, Video 1, use the self-assessment rubric to evaluate the video you created in this lesson.